reduce shelter.
Great. Hello and welcome to our Weber County Board of Commissioners work session on this Monday, July the 8th, 2024. We have a full quorum of commissioners with, as you're looking maybe in the future online, with Commissioner Sharon Bolos seated to my right, Commissioner Gage Forrest seated to my left. I'm Commissioner Harvey. Our first action is a discussion and or action of the approval for the minutes for the commission work session held on July 1st, 2024. Is there a motion or is there any corrections?
Motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you.
First.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2 is a discussion regarding the NUTIC or the Northern Utah Trafficking Coalition. Back with us again is Julie Smith. Jackie Hogan's joined us. Scott Park hopefully will be coming soon. But we also recognize Chris Crockett, Jessica Clark in the room. Julie, you're listed first. I'll have you make the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your giving us the time and consideration. We want to thank Weber County Commission for the awesome job that you do. It means so much to live in Weber County and know we can depend on you and that you're there for us. And part of the issue, and I hope you received the email that I sent to you.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because frankly, human trafficking is a major problem everywhere. And Utah is not exempt, and neither is Weber County. And you probably read some of the things that have been going on. We had a young man commit suicide not long ago because of sextortion in Weber County, and we've had other things obviously that have gone on, and it's really hard. Because the cases are literally thousands every year that predators are out there and they're trying to get the innocent people to, what shall I say, use in human trafficking and sextortion and everything. And our whole job with NUTIC, and Jackie will jump in anyway, is to educate. We do a symposium at Weber State. This will be our third that we're going to do. Our attendance is good. We appreciate that. And the word's getting out there. Also, Weber County Sheriff's Department is doing a great job. They're really trying to educate the community so that parents and kids know. It's amazing to me how many parents and children are naive. And so much is going on the internet, on phones. They're predators. They will literally get on and pose as 13, 14, 16-year-old kids and get them to send them pictures and so on and so forth, or get them to meet them somewhere and then kidnap them. Or like for one of the cases that the reason we started this, one of the cases that triggered this was two people in our neighborhood, two young girls were working at a drive-in restaurant, and a third person working there who was a 16-year-old said, I've got some people for you to meet up with. And she started to line them up and then would sell them to these guys. The one young lady wanted to run away. She was in a bad situation with her family. And she literally, the gal that was over, what shall I say, the trafficker, she sold her for $32,000 to this guy. And he says, he'll take care of you. 32-year-old guy, he'll take care of you. And actually what he had done is he had turned around and was going to sell her to different guys, in fact, out of the country. Luckily, they were talking about it, and an older brother overheard him and reported to the parents, and the parents called the police. The police came when this guy was supposed to meet up with her, and they stopped the whole thing. Once again, thank goodness, but there are a number of cases this doesn't happen. And so what we're asking, and Jackie, jump in with anything you'd like to add, but what we are asking is contribution. Because number one, we want to keep educating. We want to continue to have the meetings where parents can come and trainings where if they want, they can bring their children. But also we want to continue to do the symposium at Weber State, because education and knowledge is power. And that is the best thing to keep these kids from becoming involved.
And adults, by the way. That
Yes,
happens to
yes,
adults.
thank you. We had 4 return missionaries that ended up being sextorted just recently, and they're naive. So anyway, we really want to get the word out.
Great. Do you have a specific ask or is it just
Well, we would like at least $500 if you could, but you give what you can. We know you've got a budget. There's no question about it. We would love to split that between the symposium and Weber County Sheriff, because our goal is to try to educate as many people as we can.
Commissioner Bolos? This is kind of, well, you both have had a lot of experience in this kind of in this area. Do you have any comments or?
I think last year, the symposium, we bought a half a table or something, didn't we?
And there,
I was there.
So
Is this separate?
we've had 2 different types of symposiums. Let's say the first year was very educational and it was done by a different chair. And the second one was more of a glamosium. It's a good way to put it. It was run by a different chair and we don't have that person. We really want to stick to more educational and not the glamosium type. So we're not selling tables, but you can get a free lunch, but it's to help so we'll do the marketing and we're trying to entice the students to come with a free lunch. So the money would go to that or to marketing, or there's lots of other things. And we do have Weber State helping with that as well, but we also will have honorariums. And if we have people travel, we'll have to help room them. And so there's a lot of different costs involved depending on who we get and, you
We'd
know,
still love to have you come though.
yes.
I would love to. I thought it was really great. And I actually had a couple of my kids who were students at the time join me, and because I think we just had the spots open, you 2 weren't there, and I filled those with my kids, but it was great. It sounds like you're doing a similar thing, but instead of buying a table or half a table, we'd contribute and.
And you could still come.
Right.
And you could get a
Please.
free lunch. Yeah. So it'll much more on the educational and the
Sure.
raffles and stuff like that. They'll still have all the resource tables.
Commissioner Faur?
Well, I wish, this is a huge problem. Unfortunately, I don't think we solve it within Weber County. It's a bigger issue than we have the capability, firepower, money to solve. From an education standpoint, I mean, I dealt with this at the state with suicides and legislation that I ran back then. So I'm always in support of education. I just think we have to be careful with our budget, as you said, but did you say $500 or? And I'd wanna check with
Scott Park.
Scott Park.
I wish you could have been here.
I would assume we probably have that in one of our corners that we haven't swept out yet, but
I hope.
it'd be nice. I'm always kind of on the campaign that I like to make sure that we line up our donations during budget session. So.
And when is that? So we can make sure.
Well,
September,
October, but
but that's not the time that you would hear, we wouldn't hear a request like,
Oh,
you could make that request with Shelley, likely, wouldn't she?
sure,
I think that'd be appropriate.
that's what we've done
So
in the
just be
past.
part of our discussion
Yeah.
for that fund that we use, but.
Yeah,
So just with Shelley Halsey out there, you'd want to talk with her about that,
but I'm assuming you want that, you need it.
For this year.
Yeah.
sooner than-
which is when,
It's October 22nd.
okay?
So I'm not opposed to this, but assuming we've got the
money, I'm not opposed. to
we've got
that.
the funds.
Yeah, I'm right there with
Very
you.
supportive,
I think
actually.
you're right there.
Julie's been around long enough, trust her. To use that money in for the right things.
well, and like I said, you folks are inspiring because you want to do what's best for the community, and so do we. We want to help as much as we can and to keep this an awesome place to live.
There are other people that do what you do in the trafficking area. Is this if we start in the trafficking area, are there gonna be other traffic, folks that are gonna come and say, well, you gave it to you folks, how about giving it to us? How does that work?
That's a good question.
And not to my knowledge. Now, what shall I say, we've spearheaded it in northern Utah. Now, obviously Salt Lake and And the Provo area, they started it a while ago, but to my knowledge, there's no one else that is actively out there. And other than like the sheriff's department making this happen, and we join forces with them.
Well, the Underground Railroad's obviously got a lot of attention, a lot of press,
They
good or
have,
bad, and so, and they do a similar type of
Mhm.
thing, so.
they haven't been active around here for some reason.
Yeah, we're not affiliated with them, so,
Probably a good thing.
yeah.
I wondered because of the name of the coalition.
Northern
It
Utah
sounds like
Trafficking
it's-
Information.
It sounds like
Coalition.
it's really broad and,
Yeah.
and I would hope that people who are trying to fight this along with you would find you guys and.
And they
join
are.
Forces, you know what I
Some
mean?
people are making contact with us. We've got Davis County working with us now. And we're, looking at, possibly Botfelder and so on and so forth. And bringing, and that's the whole idea. We want to involve as many people and we're not working against them. To me, we're coordinating. We want to work with them.
Well, Shelley's our head administrative assistant out there. We'll get with her. You just maybe leave her your contact information with her out there as you
Okay.
leave. And then we can have her, once we get with Scott Park. He's likely on this agenda, although I don't remember. But again, today, so. No,
Don't see him there.
so. We'll get with him and then we can let you know. But October, appreciate you coming early enough. It gives us a couple of months instead of, hey, I need it next week. kind of thing.
Yeah, no, we like to plan ahead,
Yeah.
we really do, and to us, it's so important because we know we've been instrumental. I also teach at Weber State, and I've had some students that have told me that this really helped them, that they were involved in some things online and so on and so forth.
You're
And
still giving back, aren't you, Julie?
trying,
Always and forever.
well,
Good for you.
It was,
Thank
I will say, commissioners, it was really informative and it sounds like you're looking at more of an educational piece, but
Well,
It-
it was
but-
educational.
it was educational for me. It was
Yeah,
very
it was.
eye-opening.
Yeah, it was.
And you did it last year?
We went last year with some of my kids, yeah.
Is it a full day, half day? What's?
It's about 9 to 4. So full
Nine,
day.
12, full. Okay.
it is.
Yeah, we have a lot of
With the
different.
lunch?
With lunch, get a free lunch.
Get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or bologna sandwich.
If we pay for it.
And- You get a free lunch for $500.
Okay.
Anyway,
Nonprofit, you can't do a lot with that money.
it was
No.
really beneficial
No, it sounds,
for me.
what's the date on it?
October 22nd.
October
It's a
22nd.
Thursday.
It's a Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Alright.
you.
Thanks,
Hey,
you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good seeing Julie, good seeing you as always.
Appreciate it.
Christie, if you can hear us, if you'll bring the USU folks in.
Have a good one.
Chris, I'm gonna have to have you settle down.
Ever since he shaved that beard, it's just kind of like going back to school.
I was like Samson before, and now I'm just.
Now you're just, what do they call him?
Well, there's
Sword
Naomi.
and Stone Sparrow or,
How are you guys doing?
I know me.
Hello.
Tell me your name.
Maggie.
That's Maggie.
Matthews, yep.
Maggie Matthews, thank you. Well, welcome, commissioners. We're on to item number 3 on our agenda this morning. This is the introduction of the new USU Extension Agricultural Facility. Maggie Matthews and Naomi, go ahead. You're listed first. Naomi Brower, go ahead and present that, please.
Well, I'm just here to introduce Maggie, so I'm gonna let her do the talking. I wanted
Great.
to let you all meet. I know that you've met at the weed board.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
I knew you
So-
looked familiar.
Yep, that's me.
Okay.
So Maggie is taking Cody's place. Yes, not that you could ever take Cody's place, but.
Well, he's still kind of helping
He's,
if we need.
he's
it.
still around, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he's been a great source of information, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, and absolutely, he's still around as a resource, but
Nice.
he is turning over the reins to Maggie, so I wanted to just let you have a chance to meet her and maybe get a chance to, if you wanted to share, what would you like to share, Maggie?
Well, just, hello,
Yeah.
and nice to meet you guys. And I'm really here just to, to help you guys out and do whatever. I actually worked with Cody a couple of years ago on some of his puncture vine trials.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I worked up at USU with the noxious weed specialist for 2 years. And then with UDAF as well in their invasive species mitigation program. So I have somewhat of a solid background in weeds
I'll
and
say
things
you
like
do.
that, so I'm really talking Cody, it seems like that's a really big thing. Right now in Weber and everything, so it's something I really like to do, so.
I'm interested. So you worked with that puncture vine study?
Yeah,
Did you, I wanted to find out if after the puncture vine had been spread, excuse me. Boy, this is tough today. After the puncture vine has been sprayed,
Sprayed,
not
okay.
spread, sprayed and it's laid dormant, it's dead. Does the seed still sprout? He didn't know, and he says he was gonna do a study on that. And then,
right,
if it's been sprayed and the puncture vine, was living on there, but then it would have been sprayed and it all just crumbles up. Could the seed still sprout? And he didn't know, no one knew the answer to that.
that's a good question.
I'd love to hear the answer to
She
that.
doesn't know the answer either.
No, I'd love to have the answer to
The
that
answer to
because
that one, yeah.
I just sprayed about 40 gallons worth of,
Puncture mine?
no, and that's the concentrated, so
Yeah,
hundreds of gallons I'm really into prevention on that, preventative
good
measures, so,
yeah,
if you would.
Commissioner, you hit the mute.
Gee, I'm
Thanks.
sorry, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right,
She's on top of it.
I appreciate that, thank you so much. All right, anything else you wanna tell us? We're big supporters of you.
Anything you need, give me a call. I'm
Okay,
here,
great.
Yeah,
Is there anything that you would like her to know that you would, besides the puncture vines, obviously, you put her on task for that? But with the weed board or anything else, is there any direction that you would really hope that she could go? Cause she's kind of in the beginning stages of figuring out the needs in the county and just wondering if you see any needs maybe that Cody wasn't even filling perhaps, or, other things.
Oh, yeah, we've got all sorts of possibilities with the weed board. We started that, 4 years ago? And Cody made a huge difference. We put followed state code that allowed us to form that board. We've got 2 farmers on there and some other people. We've made, of course, I might be a little prejudiced. We made a lot of progress, but we're never gonna get ahead of the curve. They're just, it's just convincing. So I would say any of the education tools that you can provide through USU, and I know Jessica's posted, so, we're trying to educate the public with the weed board. We don't have enough money in our weed budget to spray everything in Weber County.
yeah,
It just doesn't work that way. But if we can educate people that they can go out and spray 40 acres or 40 gallons.
Yeah, so I actually ended up spraying, we sprayed close to 120
There
acres.
you go, see?
Wow.
there you
See,
go.
he's a poster child. I think we can put, so the
We
next,
can put you on the
next thing we put
video.
on Facebook is his picture with his
There
sprayer.
you go.
If Commissioner Harvey can do it, you can do it.
You can spray your own
There we
weeds.
go. You're the poster. So really, it's about education.
Mhm.
So the more, and USU has all the resources in the world and you've got the background.
Mhm.
I just say, maybe communicate with Jessica. We've got a weed board meeting coming up, I think next week.
Next week, I think on
And
Thursday.
maybe after that, we'll put an agenda item up and
Mhm.
have you talk to her
Okay,
and
So
see.
yeah.
Jessica does the public relations. I don't know
Okay.
if you've met her, so.
I've emailed you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
she can help us get the word out.
Okay.
yeah, I just think it's, boy, we got USU here, right, in our county
Mhm.
and, no better resource that we have to offer the citizens. So
Yeah.
appreciate, always appreciated USU.
Very much so.
So
Be great to, you put off a good vibe, thanks for
That's good, I'm glad.
Tony, I will tell you, I've been involved with USU out there a little more directly. I was at the Golden Spike before Duncan.
Okay,
And as far as I was concerned, and I knew James Barnhill, I knew Ben Tuller, I knew all of them going
Mhm.
back, and Cody was about as good as you can
Oh,
get. He
well,
was just really,
well, he took a personal interest in it. And
yeah.
boy, that's what you're dealing with weeds, that kind of what it takes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
what, so he was really also very responsive. I knew that if I called Cody and he couldn't answer,
Mhm.
he often would answer in meetings, but if he couldn't answer, end up calling back, and that was, it's just, our questions are probably, for me, they're probably very elementary.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to get somebody helped, and it's usually
Yeah.
can save a lot of grief if that's the case. Thank you, thanks for accepting the position.
Yeah.
Naomi's as good as they get as far as that goes. She's as good as we've had over there, so you're lucky to be in her camp.
Great, feel very lucky for that, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Glad you
Thank
could
you.
make the job. Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Nice to
See
meet
you on
you
the
guys.
18th if we don't see you before.
All right, I'll be there.
And Jessica, thanks for helping us get the word out about those hidden gems guides and that
For
mass
sure.
mass newsletter. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, commissioners. We'll now move on. Well, just a moment. I'm just gonna mute for just a second out there. Christie, let's make the change to the room and we're ready to hear item number 4. Brandy Grace, we see that you're online. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you if you're available to do that. We're loading the room with our folks now. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. I'm just a few minutes away, but I'll be on Zoom till I get there.
Very good. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me go grab these comments really quick.
William George.
Hello.
Great. How are you?
Good.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Mr. Harvey?
How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, thank
What's
you.
your name?
My name's Erin Axon. I'm with Brandy.
Aaron Axon.
AXSON, like son of an axe.
Axe.
Tricky thing to say.
It's okay. Try saying it 3 times, we'll get it, right?
So you guys
Okay.
with Brandy's stuck in traffic.
Yeah, it's okay. So
We're gonna move forward, Brandy, because of our schedule, if that's okay. We're on a Weaver
Absolutely.
County- Thank you. We're at a Weaver County work session on this Monday, July 8th, 2024. Item number 4 is a discussion regarding EV stations. We look forward to seeing Mr. Ferrario here, but Sean Wilkinson, Bill Ross, Stephanie Russell. We've got right now Brandy Grace on line and Aaron Axton from the
I'm from the
contractor.
EV, yep.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes,
the
sir.
great part about being second is sometimes when the first guy's not here, you get to lead. So there you go.
If you're okay, I'm going to let Stephanie lead on this one. She's been the one handling this grant and working through the process.
very good. Miss Russell, go ahead.
Okay, so I was, Aaron and Randy reached out to me a few months ago, and they have a proposal that they'd like to present today. And, it deals with EV charging stations. We did have a fun tour out at the Weaver County Archery Range. Gave them an introduction to the methane harvesting that we're doing out there.
And they
and that-
loved it,
And
didn't
that
they?
project.
It actually is really cool.
But kind of talking about some specific locations where we might be able to do some EV charging stations in the county. We do have a grant that's pending to put some EV stations in. We have that federal grant, but they are also working with some different contractors in the state that also have some grant opportunities. So I'm gonna let Randy and Aaron talk to you a little bit about what that looks like and today's just for some discussion and an introduction to this program. And see if there's an opportunity for us to connect with this program with what we're already doing with our, either method or the grant that Sean and I are applying for with the federal government.
Please go ahead.
Something, I know you guys have probably been talked to about from many different, there's a ton of different EV companies here in Utah. We're a resourceful crew. And so of course it's popping up all over the place. Something really unique about this company is all of the chargers are fully funded. They're privately funded right now. We don't have to go through the grant process. Last year, you probably know Grandy and I were a part of writing $100 million worth of grants to get EV chargers here. Utah got 0 of them. And so what we have right now is we have investors that have already purchased the chargers and we just need willing partners to get these in the ground. You don't even pay the power. We pay for the power, we pay for the charger. There's a rev share where you get to collect 10% of all of the revenue coming in on that. And it's kind of a no-brainer for what you guys have going right now. It's so unique. And I don't know why more people aren't jumping on it. But you guys are just movers and shakers here and making your own path, and we want to be a part of that.
Well, I can tell you why, because you don't have any charging stations up at Red Rock.
Right.
Thank you. Well, let's fix that, boys.
Gage,
Yeah, and we don't
that's
want.
a huge problem.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, we don't want to get in
Huge problem.
There's no phone service.
There's no phone service either up there.
No.
Creates a real problem when you have a car that's electric and it doesn't work
That's an insight.
on a Monday when they don't open.
I didn't know
Anyway,
that was a thing until just.
yeah, it's still a sore point. Brandy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to, first of all, for transparency purposes, as Aaron mentioned, we had organized this effort a little over a year ago now through UAC. UAC actually had been an applicant for some of those grant funds, which we did not receive any portion of. And so for transparency purposes, I just want to clarify, this is not an effort of UAC. Following that time, because of conversations Aaron and I had been a part of through that effort, this is another company that had reached out and said, hey, we have a unique model and are interested in doing it. So this is not the UAC effort. Aaron and I are working on this independently, but a very different model where we're not reliant on the federal grants in order to be able to accomplish this. So we're excited about the potential, and certainly the site that Stephanie pointed out to us and took us out to visit seems really unique and innovative, and yes, we'd be excited to be a part of it.
Thank you. Any other discussion on that? Can you tell me how Todd Ferrario feels about this? Stephanie?
I have not had, I was hoping he would be here today. We have not had that conversation.
Although
So,
we have talked about
EV,
putting
some,
some EV chargers
Right,
out at the
that-
archery range,
Right.
and
Yeah.
he doesn't have any issue with that.
What about the fairgrounds?
We haven't talked about that specifically, but I think that's a great
I think
idea.
that's a fantastic idea.
My two areas that I thought would be a good place to have them would be at our 21st Street Park and Ride, and
Mhm.
also maybe the Park and Ride out far west off of 2700.
That makes
That
sense.
makes
And then
sense.
also, we do have the road department there, and we, well,
It's gotta be open.
that's the
Those
thing.
parking rides are open, but those, you
Well, that's
put it
what I'm
behind a
saying.
lock and it's
I mean,
not.
right there by the Maverick is where you have everybody who rents those e-bikes and everything. And people come and they run the trails and the pathways up there. We own property all along there. You wouldn't have to be inside the road department. But it could be a place to do it too, especially where it's a state fueling site also. So if you have any state people who have electric vehicles, you could also look at the road department somewhere out, something outside the gate, or maybe you block it off, or.
You're
I'm just
talking
thinking-
1900?
Yeah, just places where you might want them, but you can also get it from the park and rides.
Let me nerd out on you. So tell me what type of power that you plan on putting right at the
So-
pump.
I was just gonna say, something really unique about this company as well. Utah has a ton of solar companies. And these guys have partnered with them. Every single site that qualifies has solar free of charge to you guys. We put the solar in. And Brandy and I just barely talked about that. That's what we would prefer. It seems so silly to create renewable energy off of fossil fuel. So we would love to have solar everywhere. We would prefer level 3 chargers, because the bulk of these people are gonna be in and out. You don't want them sitting there for level 2s.
No,
And something you guys are probably aware of as well, if we're following the trends of California, in the near future, 3 to 5 years, they're gonna stop giving permits to people to put these in their homes. We're not going to be able to support EV chargers in people's homes. And so driving people to places where they are anyway, if they're at the fairgrounds, if they're hiking, if they're, at the park and ride, or places, that will probably be a level 2 charger, at the park and ride, they'll be there all day, but places where they're going anyway, the libraries, the parks. Those are going to be places where people that own cars right now are going to be dependent on.
so right now we have 5 libraries, and all 5 of our libraries have level 2s.
Awesome.
So we're familiar with that. But if they could be upgraded to a level 3,
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
that makes that I'm kind of an electric car guy, that's why the inside joke. But having a level 3 is the game changer.
Yep.
Level 2 doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, at a public place, a level 2 doesn't do squat.
Unless they're parked there all day long for an office building or something like that, and it's a value added to your employees, I don't see a level 2 being.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have a lot of interest actually in what you're providing unless they were level 3s.
That's what we prefer, our level 3s.
And that was part of we were applying for that grant. We were gonna be able to only afford the level 2s with that federal grant for here. So if we did something in partnership with these guys, we'd be able to take that full grant money and put it towards just the vehicle and get the fleet started. So that would be another benefit of us doing a partnership with these guys, is we'd get the chargers, and we wouldn't have to rely on that federal grant and put in basically substandard chargers, because we wouldn't be able to afford the level 3 chargers with that grant.
Yeah, there's no use.
They're just about irrelevant.
So that was my thought behind
The level
partnering them up.
2s are just about irrelevant.
Yeah.
Irrelevant, sorry.
Yeah,
What's the charging time difference between the 2 and the 3?
You're talking about 220 to 480.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you would get double the time, or more than that, yeah.
You can charge most cars in 20-30 minutes on a level 3, and you're 8 to 12 hours on a level 2.
Incredible.
And Brandy, correct me on this if I'm wrong, but it sounds like UDOT is compiling all of the information right now for all of the available chargers in Utah, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. They're
And
doing
so-
an analysis and then figuring out strategically what makes most sense.
And that's something that's going to be available to people driving through Utah, to your constituents. They'll be able to know exactly where these charging stations are. And people are going to start changing their behavior based on their charging needs. You're going to start seeing this become part of their everyday life, which I don't get it. I had to have an electric car for 2 weeks while my car was being fixed, and it drove me nuts because my whole day had to be planned around where I was going to charge my car, and I didn't have service, so I couldn't access the app. Like, it was so frustrating, but that's the direction the market's moving.
And you didn't get stuck up in the mountains.
And I wasn't even in the mountains, I was at.
It was actually 5 hours, but thank you for.
Sorry about that.
So really what we're asking, oh, go ahead, Brandy.
I was just, yeah, to Erin's point about the idea is instead of these, the individual charging companies having their own app, there would just be a universal app where people charging would have access to charging locations regardless of the company that installed the charger.
So do you work under ChargePoint or do you work under any of the
It's
other?
called Voltus, and it's similar to ChargePoint.
What is it?
Voltus, Voltas. They're these great Utah guys. So,
I hadn't heard of
So this
those.
is a Utah company?
uh-huh.
Oh, hey, Brandon.
Good to see you all.
Good to see you too. Okay, Voltus. But do they have currently any locations in Utah?
Not in the ground yet. They have others that are going in. I think they've done something like $120 million worth of business in the United States already.
It's not Volta, it's VOLTA.
Yes.
I've got a Volta.
And this, to be totally transparent, this is a company that's small enough that's able to go and get all of their own investors. And they have a very bare bones team. And they can keep everything, they can be more workable. They're not so strict and stringent that they can't be workable to what your needs are, which I really like.
Most of the companies are relying on all of the federal funding that's available, where this company, their investors are just relying on tax credits, so they're willing to front the money. And then
They front the money, then they make the money on selling the electricity to the individual, then we get 10% of the cut.
Kind of like our carbon credits.
Yep.
It's similar to that process.
Any questions, Commissioner Bolos? Good, bad?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is maybe doing, and I'll run this through legal, is doing a participation agreement, deciding on a couple different locations for you that you think would be good to put some of these in and do a pilot on these.
Hold on, before you jump that far, go ahead. I wanna, hold on, Steph, go ahead.
I was gonna contribute to her, so if you have
Please.
so the initial step is the site agreement. There still would be, that gives them the opportunity to come on site, make sure it makes sense on their side of things. Then there would still be a construction agreement and then ultimately the lease agreement. So the initial agreement, the site agreement is just basically you saying that you're interested and that they're welcome to come on site and do some due diligence to make sure that it works for their investors as well.
Great. I still have another. Commissioner Farrar, how are you feeling about this?
Well, I think it could make sense. I mean, we've got the site out with our methane that probably number one, so my only question is, you understand we probably have to do an RFP on this.
That's where I was.
We can't sole source it.
Right.
So you're gonna be tossed out there with
Sure.
whatever. So you're,
That's fine.
yeah. I just wanted to make sure you didn't think we'd come in and sign an agreement today. It doesn't work that way.
We know you have a process to go
Yeah.
through.
Then, so what's UX taking this? Are they,
Well, that's
They
what
get a
I, that's
take or
why I
what?
say this doesn't have anything to do with UAC. I just became involved because UAC had, on behalf of the
Okay.
counties, submitted for one of the grant applications last year. In fact, we submitted 7 different applications. There was no funding in Utah, none of those. And so then because of conversations with different EV charging companies, then I was approached to work on this effort. So full disclosure, this is not a UAC effort.
No, thank you.
make sense?
And I'm glad you said that. My next thing is, that's why I told you to hold on, is I wanted to go to you, Mr. Crockett, to make sure this is something that before this contract came, we were legislatively entered into agreement, we'd have to go through the procurement process.
before we can just be sole source, and you're confident that based on that criteria, that you wouldn't have an issue.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. The unique piece to this company is the funding, that they're not relying on any funding where any of the other companies, because the relevance of UAC is that we are hearing from a lot of elected officials, they need this infrastructure in their counties, especially national park areas and some of the outlying areas where they're seeing a lot of electric vehicles that are stranded because they go out recreating and traveling and don't realize that there's.
Or on
not
official
infrastructure in
government,
place.
federal government business.
Hypothetically.
I don't drive an internet car, sorry.
So the need is there, but what's unique about this company is just that they're not waiting for funding to be approved in order to be able to do something about it.
Okay,
What about North Fork Park? You know, people have electric bikes too.
Yeah.
oh, wow, I wish Todd were here, go ahead, Chris.
So I was entering a contract in the approval system, so I just want to make sure I understood. We're making the argument that this would not be subject to procurement because it's a unique sole source type company, or
No, we think it
No,
needs to go.
I don't think
it
it
needs
is.
to go through procurement? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Thank you, James,
So one question, Mr. Chair.
please.
So you lease the sites, how does your site
Yep.
Yep. They're.
get down to, you know, the nitty gritty here?
Yeah, no, we would lease it.
What's the term of the lease?
10 years.
10 years
Mhm.
and 10% lease back,
Mhm.
negotiable
Based on
on the
use.
10%?
Probably not, just because we're paying for the charger and we're paying for the power too. And so I think
13's a
there's
nice
not-
number.
13 is a good number, but so is 10.
I was
I
kind of
see
thinking
you and
20.
I love you, but mostly 10.
Yeah,
All right.
But I like it. Keep it coming.
so basically you set up solar charges a huge battery.
Yeah.
The huge battery fills the car.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Bill, got it?
Yep.
All DC, no AC. Right?
Sure.
Is that a power joke?
I don't know. I
Always.
figure whatever makes the car
It's a-
go down
it's
the
a-
road, I don't know.
Master electrician joke,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So my
Okay.
request would be that we let Crockett take a peek at their agreement that they provided, and then if that seems like something that you guys are interested in doing, we can kind of move on to the first step.
I think you've got 3 okays on that.
Does the process, is it the same because you're not you wouldn't be expending any county funds?
No, but you
Is that-
would be
is that-
placing things on county property.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a use.
So it is, yeah, it's a use of county resources, and
Got it.
so and that would be one of the things that I've kind of noticed in being in these, that you do such a great job in providing these forums. Is I really think, and I've noticed this even when I was at the fairgrounds. We've been so good to stay out ahead of getting in trouble. You could likely use the template that we give you back on feedback for the rest of the other 28 counties. Cause it's gonna be right and it's gonna be correct and it'll pass every test but most counties don't go to that much due diligence that we do.
Yeah.
But it'll be right and then everybody's protected. That's kind of been my experience over the last 30 years. Less 5 hours up. Red Rock.
so we want it done right, but certainly appreciate your consideration, and if there's any information that we can provide in helping with drafting that RFP. So that it's, in line with the proposal so that it's equitable and you can consider, apples to apples, we're happy to provide any information that.
It'd be great, cause then you could give it to any 4, 5, or 6 class county, it'd just be in flash.
Yeah.
Be great, and I imagine that's where the big requests are coming from,
The need for.
big needs.
I didn't think so. And as you're looking at these different sites and you're looking at what your constituents could need, if there are gaping holes where chargers should be, but it's on a developer's property or something like that, that you have a relationship with, we are more than happy if you want to give us those names, we're more than happy to move forward that way, just in a private capacity. Obviously, we want to take care of you as a county for sure, but if you're seeing holes, we can definitely move that direction
That
as
might
well.
be something we at least do cover with Black Pine, where they're that far west,
Yeah.
and where that might be a good idea.
Crockett, do you have any suggestions for
I
next
wanna
steps?
check, I'm not sure this would have to go through procurement. Because we're not expending any funds.
But we are using county resources for property.
I don't think that that would still make a subject.
As long as you're happy with it, Chris.
Because I mean, we did this with Q Energy. Out at our.
True.
Out parks, and so I'll just verify
Okay.
and make sure.
There you- Whatever it is,
Team Chris on this. just-
you'll have the right answer when we're done.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you for taking the time,
Thank
coming
you.
all the way up here, and we hope you stop at the taco cart on the way home.
Well, sure. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Good
it.
to see you all.
Okay. Christie, let's load the room. Well, yeah, we're ready.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
There you go.
The sheriff isn't here yet. I'll give him a
Okay.
call.
Oh, we might want to saunter then for.
Motion to solder for 3 minutes.
So moved. 3 minutes?
All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioners, are you okay if I put on the agenda, a set case for, with Kroger?
Newsome? That's a friend of mine.
Is he?
No.
Sorry.
He is not.
All right, welcome back to our Weber County Commission work session on this Monday, July the 8th. We've got the best sheriff in the land, Sheriff Ryan Arbon, here to give us an update. Sheriff Arbon, go ahead.
Very nice, thank you. All right, I've got quite a list of stuff, so I'm just gonna punch through them. And if you have any questions, feel free to follow up. So July 4th, as you know, is one of our busiest holidays where we're extended a lot, if you will, with parades and being there, showing up there. And but all in all, we had no major accidents, incidents, problems. I don't think we had any tallies of missing fingers were never reported.
I tried, for the
To miss
record.
your to blow your fingers off.
I don't get as scared as my family does, but go ahead.
So anyway, it's great reception and I want to make sure this is very clear and not meant to offend anybody, but there's a clear difference when you go to these parades where the spirit of the 4th of July and Independence Day is so much up in the valley. Those people that you live around, they're awesome. They're great
Most
people.
of them are pretty good.
Yeah, great reception. I mean, everybody's great, but there's just a big spirit up there about Independence Day and all, so we appreciate that. Air show. I don't know if anybody went to the air show, but I've tried to avoid it for the last 7 years as much as possible. And there was no issues with that. They appreciated, there's a sign out there that says no drones allowed, but yet they invited us to do drones for patrol and all that, so it was funny. So they got a picture of us with our drones flying in front of the sign that says no drones.
You stood there on purpose.
With Kyle right there.
Kyle and Horton and all them.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it was purpose that we were supposed to be out there. Okay, I'll come back to drones. We got some good stuff on drones. Corrections, Chief Reese asked me to pass on this text. Hold on. There will be a contract by the end of the day for medication assisted treatment nurse that will be coming in front of them next week. This FTE position will be funded through opioid grant funding in partnership with Weber Human Services and through BioCore. So just want to give you a heads up on that. And then furthermore about the corrections, Chief Reese said that the last couple of June and July, we hit the highest population in our facility with what we consider, what is considered fully staffed. As you guys know, that number can fluctuate, but we hit close to 800, which we're an 880 bed facility, but as you know, with the challenges with the mental health and the other severe offenders, eats up some of our space. And I believe that you were sent some numbers. Reese said that should be coming weekly to you.
I appreciate that,
Yes.
Tom, thank you.
Okay, and to reiterate that the urgency is still important for medical and mental health. I walked through the jail about 4 days ago, and it's a zigzag pattern through the medical at certain times of the day. So I know you guys are working on a decision. I've talked with Stephanie a little bit. There's things in place that you're trying to get some information. But, you know, this takes about 2 years to build. And if we could start today, because it's gonna be a bigger problem here in the next 6 months to a year, it's gonna increase. So anyway. All right, drones. As you recall, I think you recall, our sheriff's office had a story in the Washington Post and the New York Times about our drone program, specifically search and rescue. The Wall Street Journal is coming out next week or 2 weeks to do a story on that, in which New York
They're
Times
coming
came
here.
out. New York Times came out and sat in my office and interviewed with me. And yes, and then also DJI is giving us a drone. It's one of their biggest drones that can carry up to 80 pounds to test for them. So this is
Just,
good.
I gotta lose a little more weight.
Yes.
That's gonna be on it.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah. So anyway, and then also we were, after our, jail, our border tour.
How was that?
I don't know if you saw my Facebook that I gave a pretty good account of it. It's what we think, but at the same time, it's not what we think. We saw some really sad. I wish I had pulled up on Google Earth, but there's a place near Tucson. It's called a soft site. They don't like calling it process facility, but that's what they do is they process, so they call it soft site, so it's more politically correct. And in this site, imagine about 6 or 8 football fields together. That's the size of it. It's all tent and steel pipe to get this thing up. And in that process, the 2 months before we got there in December, January, and February, they were averaging 3,000 a day through there. There's about 20 facilities along, or sectors along the border. And this is the Tucson one. And again, 3,000, when we were there a day, it was 1,100 a day. And I got pictures of some of the folks that were coming through. And we toured the soft site. What was sad is they had a football size place for families, 3 of them. And the 4th one was kids that didn't have parents, as young as 3. That were just sent on the journey of over 1,000 miles. Some were from Guatemala, some were from South America. And they're so desperate that the parents will just give them to somebody, their kids. Don't know who they are. Take my kid to America. So the thing is there's a lot of pressure and image right now. They're all illegal criminals or doing bad things, but there's a large group that's here for the right reason. And it's sad to see that. And so, when I was there, Ryan Wilcox went with us. He was able to interview several individuals and families and found out their stories. One lady and her son was fleeing because their uncle was recently killed by a cartel member. Others because they have family. It was amazing how many uncles or the same uncle lives in Miami, the people that we talked to. It was just fascinating. Catholic Community Service is heavily involved. I've tried to reach out to Marisha Boskeeter, who we all know very well. We communicate very well on Messenger, but when I ask her to talk about the immigration, she ghosts me. So I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I just want to tell her what we're doing and how we're seeing things to support what she does to some extent, but also let her know what we're getting a lot of concerns from the community about their involvement. And I can't get her to talk with me on that. So anyway, that's that. Tentatively, you might want to write this down. July 30th, I believe is a Tuesday. We are hosting an event.
July 20?
Sorry, 30th, it's Tuesday, at the Sheriff's Office Training Facility. The time is not nailed down, but we're inviting leaders of the cities and county and state within Weber County. The Republicans and Democrats are gonna be invited, like the delegates, the CCC group. We're anticipating well over 100 showing up. And we have a presentation that's about 90% complete about our tour of the border and what we saw. We're gonna show all the pictures and it's a return and report. And so we'll field some questions with that, so you might wanna come.
Christie, if you're listening out there, will you please make sure that gets on at least maybe our schedule so we can.
Yeah.
I'm getting the head nods in here, so
Have a coffee.
all 3 of our schedules. Thank you.
I will.
It'll likely be somewhere either before lunch or after lunch, right in that time period would be my guess.
It'll probably
Okay.
be 6:30 or 7:30 PM.
That's not lunchtime. It'll be, it's a Tuesday.
The CCC is having their meeting and they asked if they wanted to hear our presentation. They do it after their meeting.
You have your city partnership meeting that night, just so you know.
Yeah, they moved it.
Oh, no, on my calendar.
Yeah. So it's at 6, I think is the.
6 to 8.
Yeah, so it should usually done at 7 o'clock, 7:30, and then we're gonna be over at the later for our presentation. So I would encourage you, So if you get questions, because at county levels, along with that, tour, before the tour, we went to and I told you this, it was a conference about human trafficking. And we learned a lot about the sex trade. They call it, IMI. Illicit massage business, illicit massage industry, or illicit massage schools. And most of the Asians that come from China, if not all of them, are directed to go through San Diego. And the cartel, so to come across the border, you have to go through a cartel. That's what we learned, period. It's not the government, it's the cartel. They make anywhere from 5 to 30 grand per person to go through the border. And so the Asians, I say Asians, just to make sure I don't miss anybody, but I'm told by Intel and from the Border Patrol and these other groups that we went at the conference that it's mainly China. They're forced through the western end towards San Diego because the sex trade industry is so massive in California that San Diego city or county alone is a $670 million a year industry for massage parlors. And the average 16-year-old female from China is in debt 45 grand to these groups because they're promised this lifestyle. And when they get there, it's not what they were told. So they're forced to work, restaurants, massage, and all this. And they have to work until they get it paid off or they flee. So we'll put a couple of slides in there about that, but it's, there's good that comes across border and there's a lot of bad. So, I mean, there's a lot more that I could share on that, but I'll reserve it for the presentation. Okay, moving along with, I want to give you an update on ICE. You guys saw my text about their inspection. So they came out and they came out and they did an inspection of Kiesel. So early reports say it's favorable. So ICE is working on a contract and some things, and I told them that I have 2 other groups that are absolutely key to making this successful, and we're partners on this. Number 1 is the public. Number 2 is the commission. I told them explain how the contracts work, and they understand that. And so in the meantime, Sheriff Mike Smith got an invitation for him, myself, and Chad Jensen from Cash to go to DC to speak with number 2 at ICE about the problem.
Michael Jensen used to be.
Chad Jensen, Mike Smith from Utah.
Smith, okay.
Yeah, so like I said, Jensen, I flubbed it. So we're going July 22nd to DC, flying there Sunday night and be back Monday night. So they won't talk to us about ICE. I don't know what they're gonna ask, but there's a big problem with ICE detainees here in Utah because nobody holds them, nobody wants them, nobody likes ICE. You guys have seen our issues with ICE lately. It's not just Weber County, it's every other sheriff. And so who knows what's gonna happen, but nothing has been promised on our end to ICE, other than that we'll work together. So. Questions about ICE? I also told ICE, their director, Bernanke, that if we do work with ICE, that not one dime will be a burden on Weber County residents, period. I says your costs will include staffing, it will include repairs, everything, right? So no one's gonna be in debt because of ICE in our county. They were very clear and they said,
I like that idea. That's a good statement.
Yeah, I don't think we want to support it.
no,
The government has more money than we do.
well, they can print it, we
The,
can't.
the other player that we need to make sure we get involved with those discussions is Ogden City.
Chief Young's
We've
involved
got
in
2,
this.
well, I'm
Yes.
talking to mayor.
Oh, yeah, when I met commission, that's we work together on that.
I just want to be careful. We're on good relations with them right now. We haven't been in a little while, and I want to make sure we continue that basis.
Yeah, we know that Ogden does not want ICE in there.
Well, that's why I say we.
Sure, it's very clear.
So we need to have that. So we need to come up with a solution that works for everybody.
Right, and like I said, there's no commitment on any of this, Fisher Ford, but we do have a priority. It's public safety.
Yeah, no,
I got it with the jail, with the medical and mental health. We're reaching points where we're close to not letting some people in. And now we got people that want us to arrest every illegal immigrant. Problem is we don't have a place for them, neither does the state of Utah.
Yeah.
And so there's this balance of what do we do nothing, do we do something, we don't know yet. I haven't seen what they're willing to bring forward. I've also told them that we'd be willing to build a soft site facility way out somewhere else that's away from the public. Because when we were down at the border, we saw their detention facilities. We could build those for less than half of what it costs to build a jail. It'd be between the $200 and $400 range per square foot rather than the $8 that we're seeing.
So I don't doubt the need. I mean, we know there's been a need.
Right.
It's just a matter of, we just wanna work together on whatever, we go out west, we get the federal dollars, you know.
It's gotta be a win for
If
everybody.
there's money in the pot, we can make it work.
Yes,
That's what I'm telling
but
you.
we're not paying for it.
Yeah.
But again, it's unknown. They know that there's people, when I say the public, that means Ogden City as well,
Yeah.
so they know that. Okay, I don't think I have anything else as far as that go. I do have an answer for you, so Ogden won't. We looked at our policies and the problem is we get calls from schools for when someone wins state. We have a lot of other people that are high status and there's such a high liability to get the motors and the cars out and the lights and blocking the intersections and the traffic, because to have that steady stream, you know, we calculated the amount of lights and intersections and corners, even the streets where people come on, there's no lights. There's a lot of people involved in that. And so Commissioner Harvey called and asked if we do a funeral procession for Hendrickson, sorry, I got the name wrong.
Yeah.
And it's a sad case. He's a well-known man. We know that. We actually get probably anywhere from 3 to 10 of those a year on people that are really important in the public. But our policy's always been if it's a dignitary, a military, or an officer involved is when we do it. So, sorry. But if you'd like me to call the people that are reaching out to you, I'd be happy to explain it for you.
I think I can give him that explanation, but I understand your policy. You may get some other calls.
That's fine. It's not about, the thing I'm concerned about is if it becomes a who, and then how do we start measuring? Well, is it how many friends they have? And I don't mean this to pun, but how many friends they have on Facebook or how well they're known? Because then that becomes arbitrary. And then we get the question, why do you do it for them and not for us?
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that this is you may hear from, maybe the governor will get the highway patrol involved or something like that. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I get it.
So anyway, any other questions, concerns on that? Any motorcycles?
Yeah, my bike's waiting for me.
Okay, any questions, Commissioner
I
Bolos?
think so. Thanks for your report.
None for me. Thank you for the update, Sheriff.
Thank you. None.
Anyone else?
Thanks for your presence at the
Oh, hey, I
city
didn't have-
events.
Question if I
Yes.
I saw
might.
your
always-
deputies all over the place.
Oh, they were out everywhere.
I always thank them and hand them candy, and then they hand the candy off to the kids next to them.
Question though, so I noticed yesterday, driving by, Middle Inlet, that we had a lot of illegal traffic parkers up there. And I didn't see that they had tickets. Do you know if they enforced that yesterday?
So I will ask where, if we done any enforcement and what, and I'll get back to
Still,
you.
you know, we had that, I know Horton was working on that. We
Middle
had
Inlet,
Middle Inlet, and I mean, people drive crazy up there and they've got this much room
so
on the side of, between their car and the side of the road. I just drove through there. Somebody's gonna get hit. And that's, I mean, that's
They
the
walk
reason.
on the highway.
Well, yeah, I mean, they unload on the highway and
so if it was yesterday, or
it was yesterday afternoon.
was it yesterday when the accident occurred or the day before?
Day before the
Oh,
accident, the canyon. This is up at Middle Inlet. on the
Okay.
east.
I know that if it's not being enforced, I was gonna say like the accident that.
Yeah,
took
no, this
So many
was-
resources of the
This
state,
was Sunday
county.
afternoon,
Okay,
but I'm just curious because I'm just waiting for another accident to happen up there and somebody to get hit or a kid to get hit. I mean, you know, they load all those, they got 4 or 5 kids in a vehicle and they all jump out at the same time. We've got to continue to work on that parking up there, Sean, which I know we are, but
Yeah,
that's,
We-
it's a problem.
we've got another issue as well that we're working
Okay,
by the Eden Park with some racers and some
yeah,
things
we
like that.
know the issues and I just
Bicycle or
run it
cars?
by, I just didn't,
Wow.
and maybe they did, maybe they ticketed them, I don't know. I mean, I just was driving by and said, I don't see any little white coupons.
Coupons
Yeah.
for a discount for some
Just
other
go to
business,
Sam's,
right?
take this to Sam's Club.
Commissioner, talking to some of the residents, they said, we may need to look at what we're charging up there as well for these tickets because
Well, that thought went
It's
through
cheaper
my
than
mind.
parking.
it is.
That
They
came
said
up 2 years
if
ago and
if
last
more
year.
people are in this vehicle, it's cheaper to
Yeah,
park and
that's-
pay the ticket than to actually.
Interesting.
park
And then they
pay.
get the chance, hey, we didn't get the tickets, so we didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought we raised those a couple years ago,
I
Sheriff.
think didn't it go from 20 to 40?
That's, as I recall.
But it's still
cheaper.
it's still that
Yeah, 'cause
same.
125 is a nice
If
number.
everybody's paying
Yeah.
$10,
Well, I was
Parking,
thinking,
then
that
you're
was what I was
set.
going through. I think you gotta have at least 100, don't you?
Yeah, $100 would be a real incentive not to park there.
But
125 is a nice number.
I like your number. How about I'll top you to 150.
Well, I was trying to get from 10 to 13.
But I thought we heard from legal.
You
that
can make that
You had
ticket
some
during a
limits.
certain window too.
I'm not
The
sure
price?
on that.
What's
Well, you
Uh,
can enforce it during the times when it emphasizes the need for it. Like you do it from Labor Day to Memorial Day,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
rather than all year long.
That's what Boise's starting to do.
no, all you've gotta do
Yeah,
that's
is,
a good idea.
yeah, from mid-May to mid-September at the most.
Yeah.
So
Not
on
even
the
that
optics of it, you have someone's, well, we're always accused of writing tickets because we make money, but if people really knew how much money we make on tickets, not a lot.
No,
'Cause you gotta pay the courts first and then the cities.
no.
But when you do something like this, it's like, we're not doing this all year round. This is targeted during the times
That's,
when has a huge impact on public safety. People walking and unloading on the street,
Yeah.
right? So,
and it's
yeah,
usually just, I mean, it's really a weekend problem. Let's be honest, it's
Right.
Saturdays, some, maybe Friday, but not
and
but
you
Saturday-
can write it as such too.
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, I mean, I think we just write the tickets because there's ample parking up there the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you?
I totally agree. We were up there Wednesday night last week.
Yeah,
So the night of the 3rd, and we found a parking spot just fine.
yeah,
Nobody was parked on the roads,
yeah.
but you go up there on the 4th or on a weekend.
Holidays and weekends
And
are
again, you're right.
problematic.
Yep.
We probably ought to address.
I
it.
like your Memorial Weekend, Labor Weekend.
Yeah. But I think it's gonna get worse as the summer goes on because the lake level's gonna drop. Right now, we're keeping a few people away because the lake level's so high, they don't have beach.
That's true.
Right.
So anyway,
Yep. All right.
appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
guys. Oh, I came in the door and I said, Mike and I talked for a minute and he said, I said, Mike, is there anything you would like me to pass on to the commissioners? He said, yes. Tell them thank you for their support.
He's such a good dude.
Many of us echo that too. So thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you next bat channel.
That's that time.
Okay.
Let me answer in the procurement question.
Commissioners, would like to entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the character and competence of an individual.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Bolos.
Aye.
Commissioner Faur.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We'll now move into closed session. Christie, if I could trouble you to bring in the recorder. Thank you.
This one,
We
you
don't
will
have
have to
recorders.
record.
Evidently, Christie, we don't have to record this one, so never mind. Thank you.
I'll get with Brandy.
We've just left the closed session on this Monday work session, the Monday, the 8th of July. I'll entertain, and there was no action taken. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. All of it.